Terri, welcome to In Conversation with myself, Paul C. Absolute pleasure to have you, with myself today. Obviously, a lot of people know you from incredible success with Hollyoaks. But the amazing thing with Hollyoaks, and people don't know, Terri played Ruth in Hollyoaks way back in the very beginning, was its success. You sort of came from nowhere. And what we will do though, Terri, is really start out, where you're from, sort of your journey going into sort of that. So we start from the beginning, then sort of your middle of your career, and obviously what you're working on now, so people can sort of follow that journey yourself, Terri. So
well, I never really knew what I wanted to do. I was always that kid and as well, the school that I went to, there was never an opportunity to be exposed to the arts, not in the way that I'm now in the arts. So, had I been exposed to it, then maybe I had to train properly instead of doing it on the job, which is very difficult. But I always was very studious. I started my A-levels and I was a competitive swimmer. And I'd started doing a bit of modelling and earning good money. And I took a year out to earn money for university and then never went back. And then after I'd gone to London and I was modelling in London. And then after quite some years, I thought, you know what, this isn't the career path. You get a bit lost in it. And it wasn't a career path that I wanted to have longevity in. And I saw it, I can't remember, I heard about an advert for presenters. So I sat there and I thought, right, what is it I'm good at? Well, I love talking, love people. Right, okay, what job description would that fit into? So I thought, presenting, I could be a presenter. Let's have a go at that. And there was this advert for continuity presenters on the Children's Channel, and Tommy Boyd, which some of you may or may not remember, he was a children's presenter and he was teaching presenters, and I got the audition. I thought, great, this is where I'm going. I finally found a job that I know I want to do. And I was still really young. I was only about 21 or 20 even. So I spent some time then being a children's presenter. And then my model agency told me about a job in Hollyoaks. They were looking for models, and my presenting agent knew the casting director, Dorothy Andrews. I mean, God, I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no idea. And so I got the audition, and then my Scottish friend, Morgan, I said, you know what, let's just go for the day out. They're paying expenses. I'll drive up there. We'll go out for dinner. We'll make a day of it. I mean, bloody hell. I didn't realise 4 auditions later I'd actually be offered the job. I sat there with my little portfolio in the audition, and there was all these girls from the Tally Conti slagging the programme off. And I'm obviously not in the industry. I was thinking, why are they here if they don't like the programme? I just thought it was fabulous. And never thought anything of it, went in, really enjoyed the audition, had dinner, went home. Then I got called back again, and then again. And the 4th time they called me back, I didn't know this is the way it went. And I said to my agent, I'm not going again. I've got a modelling job with Marks and Spencer's. They're a really big client of mine. I am not letting them down. They're just wasting my time. I'm, numbers game. And then Dorothy rang me. She went, no, you've got to come. It's between you and another girl. I was like, really? Oh my God. So I went up for the audition, and Phil Redmond and Joe Hallows and Dorothy were there, and I sat there. And they said, we've got some bad news for you. I thought, oh, after all that bloody time, they went, you've got the job and we need you to start straight away.
Wow.
I was like, great. So I went to Topshop. I bought a bag full of clothes and underwear, and I started the job. And the next time I left that audition was 4 months later when I had to go back to London and pack up my home because my car insurance was running out on my car and the documents were in London. And do you know what? I had a bloody ball, and those people changed my life. They gave me an opportunity where no one would normally, not today, I don't think. The closest I'd done to drama was playing a bloody tree in the school production. I mean, I'd really done nothing. And I was shocking for a long time. But then after about a year, Phil Redmond wrote me a letter, and I've still got it now. And he said, well done for all your hard work. And it was really long hours. We were working 6-7 days a week. It was just the core cast. But he said, we're in danger of seeing a real actress, like I always knew we would. And it made me cry. I still see Phil and Lex now. I'm very fond of them. He got given some achievement in Liverpool, which I think was, oh no, I'd been for dinner since then. And I had the best time. I had the absolute best time. It was like we were students, except we had money. I lived in the girls' house, 2 doors down at the boys' house, and it was wild. And what the technical experience that I learned at Hollyoaks, you just, even as an actor with a really long career, doesn't get that kind of exposure to the technical side of things. Yes, as an actress, I still have a lot to learn. And I'm by no means the best actress in the world. I'm not the worst. I'm natural because it's the only way I know how to be, because I didn't go through drama school. But what I did do when I left Hollyoaks is I knew I had a lot of experience and lacked probably a lot of technical ability. So I had a lot of one-on-ones. So I studied Stanislavski and other methodology, because I knew I wanted to go into experience a bit of theatre. I came out of Hollyoaks saying to my agent, I don't want to do any theatre. Really, translated, that meant I'm terrified of theatre. But actually now, looking back, every actor needs to do some theatre, because you need to have experience in every medium of the industry to have a knapsack full of techniques. I mean, what we learned on Hollyoaks was to take direction very quickly. We learned to work with a lot of different people. We learned technical ability, crossing the line, shot sizes, all of that stuff, which actually has really helped me as a producer. But what I lacked was character development. I'd only ever played Ruth, which was great. But what theatre really teaches you is really, you know, that real development of a character, and going out and doing that same thing over and over. Sorry, there's a tractor coming by outside. I hope you can still hear me. He'll be by soon. Nearly there. Just
so you're okay.
I've just come off the film, aren't I? Hang on, that's not going to be good for clown. What theatre really teaches you is to be able to go out every night and treat it like it's the first night, and find something new in that performance and in that character, but still keeping it, you know, still knowing your cues for the other actors. And so for me, I felt that's where I grew the most. You know, the last play I did was a 2-handed play, which was terrifying and brilliant. And since then I've done much more film. So when I left Hollyoaks, I wasn't being offered the kind of things that I wanted to do, and I was being offered a shitload of presenting. And because I'd started as a presenter, I ended up then going into presenting, which was brilliant, but also been a bit of a noose around my neck as an actress. So I did Loose Women and 60-Minute Makeover. I worked with This Morning, Richard and Judy. So yeah, I had a great career as a presenter, but you know, I really missed acting. And so when I came back to acting years later, I might as well have started again, because the casting directors were like, well, she's a presenter now. And, you know, I think the journey I've had, albeit I've kept busy, retrospectively has at times been damaging for the kind of work that I've really wanted to do. I think there's terrible snobbery in the industry. Between MT, musical theatre, and not that I can sing a note, by the way, just to be very clear. And also because I've been a presenter, an actress, a presenter, and, you know, my brand as an actress has been very judged because of that journey, which is partly why I went off to do theatre, which, unbeknown to me at the time, bloody loved. Who knew that something that I was so terrified about, I would love so much? And definitely my curve of growth as an actress happened probably the most in theatre. And then I got to a point where I'd see a final cut of something, or I stood backstage and I was thinking, you know what, this could be so much better if this or that. And I was in a production in the Charing Cross Theatre in London, and that's it. I thought, well, you know what? Instead of moaning about where I am, bloody do something about it. Take it by the balls. And there was a director I'd worked with that I loved, Maxine Evans, And I'd done 2 plays with her prior to that. And I said, Max, I want you to direct me in something. I'm going to produce it. I'll put the money up. Let's find a script. Let me do the role that I really want to do and prove to people I'm more than just that girl from Hollyoaks or just that presenter from Loose Women. And that started my producing journey. And that was a hugely successful play. We tested it out at a theatre in Covent Garden. It was called Revlon Girl. Ian Docking, her husband, wrote it. And we toured it around Wales because it was about the Aberfan disaster. And actually Neil, who wrote it, went on to be nominated for an Olivier, which was obviously very prestigious for him. But that was where I started producing. And then Michael Elking, who is the writer-director of Break, approached me on Twitter, of all places, and said, I've written this part for you. I was like, really? That sounds amazing, send it. And I said, look, I'm really busy. I think I was in a play at the time. And I said, I'm really busy. I'll get to read it in, give me 2 or 3 weeks. Anyway, I ended up on the train and I thought, I'll just have a little look at it. Well, I read the whole bloody thing, rang him, said, it's amazing. I love it. I want to be in it. Let me in it. I'll pay you to be in it. And I just got on with him really, really, really well. And I have a great friendship with him. And at some point, the idiot that he is said, will you produce it? I was like, because I've never taken a traditional journey, as you know, Paul. Charting my path is not one I necessarily recommend, just because it's an untraditional one. But I wouldn't change a thing because I am where I am and I'm incredibly happy. So we had Break, and I took it as far as I could take it. And then the first thing I did after that period was bring on somebody that really knew what they were doing, which was a producer called Dean Fisher. And Dean has been my mentor as a producer. And I knew that Dean would teach me. The problem is the temptation with someone like me, who, I can get a certain level of press, is they'll just let me do it in name only. He took it the extreme. And not only did I have to roll up my sleeves, I had to get on my hands and knees and put bloody gaffer tape down and all the shit that comes with filling holes as a producer. And Break was the first feature film that I'd produced, and I was also in it. I played Kathy. But unfortunately, with Break, we'd done all the hard work for, and we had a beautiful Leicester Square premiere all booked in, and the pandemic struck. So we delayed it and delayed it and delayed it, but by that time, our investors had already been with us for quite some time, and so we then felt pressure to release because, they're going to want their money back. And so we held the first ever drive-in premiere for Break. And it was just out of, was it the first or the second lockdown? First lockdown. And it was amazing. And we had all the press there because it was the first celeb bash. And Richard Arnold came and did a bit for GMTV. Or was it Good Morning then? One or the other. So, yeah. And my then business partner, we met in Berlin, was it 18 months ago, on LinkedIn, actually, going back to our previous conversation, which we may or may not use in this section of the interview. If you don't use it, I was asking Paul how effective he felt it was in business. Well, this is how effective. So Greg Barrow, who is my business partner, and he would say that the more handsome part of Buffalo Dragon, approached me on LinkedIn. And we started communicating, and we were like, let's grab a coffee. And I went, I can't. I'm in Berlin at the film festival with Break. And he went, oh my God, I'm in Berlin.
Wow.
I was like, let's meet up. This is serendipity. It's amazing. And then, that started a really, really just beautiful friendship, business relationship. We knew we wanted to work together. He offered me different roles within his company, which weren't quite the right fit because I didn't really want to work for anybody. I have learned over the years, being a creative, that I operate better when I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I was just worried that if I was going to have to meet targets and that my wings would feel clipped.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right in saying that. I think I know myself enough to know that that's the truth. So we kept talking, and I was looking for a UK sponsor for the drive-in. And I said, look, Greg, you know we want to work together. Let's get your logo on our board where all the press will take pictures. I said, you can see how I work under pressure. That was loads of pressure. And we can, go from there, because not only did Break try and release before the pandemic, we released during the pandemic, and then 4 days before our fabulous drive-in premiere, the company that was hosting it decided to go under. So in 4 days, myself, Dean Fisher, Laura, and our very, 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 very small team, Adriana, built the infrastructure of the drive-in premiere from the ground up. Wow. So by the time the premiere came, we looked bloody awful because we'd not slept. That was definitely the most pressure I've been under. We had the world press coming, and 4 days before, we had no premiere. So that was really interesting. I don't think I'll ever be that stressed again. And then after that, Greg kept saying, why won't you set up a company with me? Why? And I said, I don't really want to run a company. It's A, I don't think I can. And B, I don't like numbers. And C, I'm an ideas person, I'm a people's person. I think the key with this business is knowing what your strengths are. And thankfully, I've always been very lucky that I'm quite realistic about what I'm good and not good at.
Yeah.
And then it was July, I think, and we were in lockdown, and I picked up ideas to redevelop them. And he said on a Friday, right, this is the offer. Think about it over the weekend, and let's talk on Monday. And you know what was holding me back? It was fear. It was fear. Same as what holding me back in theatre. Why would he want to back me? I don't want him to lose his money, and I'm scared I can't do it. And actually, I thought, I'm at a point in my life now, if I don't jump in feet first, when will I? There's nothing happening in the industry. I'm stuck in home. It's something I can build while I'm stuck in home. And I said to him, I'm just worried you'll lose some of your money. He went, well, it's my money to lose, and I think you're worth taking a punt. And do you know what? It was the same as, not that he's like my dad in any way. When I was scared to go to London at 18, my dad went, what have you got to lose? Just come home if it doesn't work out. I was
Absolutely.
like, oh yeah, that seems so simple. Of course I could. And Greg has given me, he's changed my life in lots of ways. And he has such belief in me. And I think I didn't realize how important to a human being it is to give that belief in someone else.
Absolutely.
And there's a saying, isn't there? If you think you are successful, you will be successful. And he has given me the confidence to think and believe that we're going to be successful. Gosh, in just over 2 months, we'd made 2 feature films, both of which were in a pandemic. A lot of productions stopped because they didn't think they could carry on in a pandemic. We made one, and we would, half of the film, the production was in lockdown, the other half we were just coming out of it. And this one, Boland Shoes, so the first one was The Stranger in Our Bed, which is based on the US Today best-selling book by Samantha Howe. And that is just out of post on Saturday. So we start the selling process of that. And Boland Shoes, starring Timothy Spall and Leanne Best and Mark Lewis Jones from The Crown, and a host of other people, Matthew Horn being one of them from Gavin and Stacey. That completed production, and we are now just going into post. And Greg is always so humble, saying, it's all you, Dwyer, you've done all of this. But what he doesn't realise, without his support and confidence, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it. Yeah. So the one thing, and you know, he's a hugely successful businessman. Not having a production company is his first real foray into that. But I think the biggest thing to take out of it for anybody that's watching this, doesn't matter where you are in your career, to pass that elevator back down and to be kind and give confidence to somebody can really change their world. I mean, albeit with me on a bigger scale. Yeah. But, you know, I made a point then of on every production to have work experience, and, you know, Greg and I have high hopes of really passing it back down in a much bigger way. And I think we've all got a duty to do that. Whatever walk of life we're in, be kind and make sure you make somebody feel good and confident today, because you don't know what that will mean for them tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Really long, broad brushstrokes of
no. I feel like I should stand up and give you a round of applause, a standing ovation on that. Do you know, the great thing is, Terri, is that, I mean, and not, you know, I ripped many words down then, but I mean, one of the first things I wrote down was self-awareness, and it just radiates so much of your journey. But also for a lot of people that are watching this, self-awareness is huge. Some people, you don't always have it from like a certain age. I never had it when I was a teenager. I had zero self-awareness, no idea what was going on, not a lot of an idea what was going on around me, really. I was sort of on the fly, and it's it gradually came to me in my early 20s, bit by bit by bit. It almost like the more experiences I was having, I was getting more and more self-awareness about what was right for me or what I can and can't do. And I mean, I'm a bit like yourself. I mean, my confidence and my belief in myself was probably zero at the age of 10. That was nobody's fault. It wasn't parents were amazing, but I was very shy. I was very introverted at that point in my life. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a very happy-go-lucky person, but I had no real sort of direction or idea where to go. And my confidence and self-belief was essentially like building a house entire life. It was one brick at a time every single year and experience and project that ended up building the house, obviously, you know, to what we're doing today. But I always say to people is that one of the reasons why I can overcome either campaigns that don't go as well or things that don't work or chances on things, it's that, look, at the end of the day, it's because I tend to remind myself of the various points in my life where, so hold on, you were able to do this. I've got reference points I'm able to fall back on and say, look, if you did this once there, then you're more than capable of doing it again. These things happen, learn from it, you know, grow. Don't ignore the fact of why it happened, because it happened for a reason. If you ignore it, like we were saying earlier on, if you ignore something, then you've not taken any real growth from that experience. And you're likely to probably have a similar situation again. Nothing in life, you know, comes easy, and sometimes we see things that, you know, we don't, you know, I don't work in your industry, and we go, oh, we see the highlight reel, but we don't see what went in behind the scenes to get to that position. And that's one of the reasons for the YouTube channel, was to almost peel back the curtain and say, look, this is the journey that these individuals have been on. Us as an audience see, whether you're a sports person, one of them was a Hall of Fame Olympian, he had huge family issues. His dad was a Hall of Famer before him. So he had unbelievable, before he'd even established himself in his career, he already had, the expectation was he had to be that level, and he hadn't even got going. So he couldn't even find himself before the expectation was to the moon, on top of family problems, etc. as well. And then I had a Premier League footballer who we were talking about, you know, coming towards the end of a Premier League title. This must be amazing. This is everything you've dreamed for. We're like yourself going for an Oscar, I suppose. You know, this must be phenomenal. You know, this is what you've always wanted, you know, from me as an audience member. And he said yes, but the pressure was unbelievable, you know, on himself. And you're like, but you as an audience member, you know that, but you sort of push it aside, don't you? Go, I know it's obviously all not fun. I'm not that naive. But equally, you just think, oh, well, this must outweigh the stresses of it. And it took him to his child went into hospital, and you know, fortunately his child was okay, but it took him to his child went into hospital, and he had missed training. He had to go and, you know, and spend time there, and he came back with a completely different perspective on his entire career. You know, still obviously as professional as always, but he had a sort of calibration of of life. And I know obviously I'm not touched too much, but you've obviously had that throughout your personal journey. Obviously, you were saying to myself earlier on, with the car crash earlier on in your life, you've got a rich balance of perspective because of that happening, perspective element because of your parents on top of that situation. But like we said earlier, it's very easy to crumble, and that's not casting, like everybody deals with very traumatic experiences, and like we said, they have to find their own way, their own elements, their own sort of path out of the woods to have this type of conversation where we see your self-awareness, see your growth. They go, why would Terri Dwyer? You've gone from your modern, you've taken a chance, you've really grown and learned. You're like a sponge on Hollyoaks. You had your self-awareness to know, like, I haven't made it. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. It's very easy to fall into the trap of, I've arrived. I mean, from my perspective, I'm in awe of your career. I think it's great for any person that's really starting out to really see your journey and to see you keep continually improving, to see where you're at now. Keep us posted on everything that you're doing in terms of.
Oh yes, I will do. Well, listen, you'll soon hear as soon as I've got the films coming out. I'll be expecting you to share it far and wide. It's been lovely speaking to you, Paul. I really appreciate you, and just keep in touch.